our next topic that is based on link state routing. Okay, so in the previous topic we have studied that another algorithm that is known as distance vector routing, and in that algorithm we have seen that there are some problems that are attached to this particular algorithm. Okay, so what are the problems that are attached to it? There is something called a count to infinity problem. Okay, so that arises when the connection just got disconnected. Instead of the distance vector traveling with each other and making the path as not reachable, they are exchanging different thing. They are only exchanging the distance vector. They are not exchanging the next hop. So that is why this particular problem arises, and uh, the distance just keep updating forward and forward and forward. They just eventually reach to infinity. Okay, so actually the infinity in networks does not lie here. So infinity in networks actually means 16 hops. Okay, so if any routing algorithm is taking more than 16 hops, so it is understood that this particular algorithm now stuck in the infinite loop. Now this particular packet is now discarded. Okay, so just keep in mind that infinity in computer networks means 16 hops. So it cannot go beyond 16, because in 16 hops everything will be covered from any part of the world. Okay, so now you have seen the solution. The problem was count to infinity, and we have provided a solution of split horizon. And again, the looping problem was also finished in if I provide the solution of split by providing the solution with the split horizon. The only problem was the convergence was very slow. Be it when the connection is established, it also takes like 3 or 4 or 5 steps to establish the whole connection. Be it the connection got disconnected, when the connection is disconnected between two routers, so it is again taking a lot of time, like 2 3 steps to transfer the information that this particular connection is this particular connection or this particular path is now not available. So seeing this, if only this problem, I we have come to another technique that is known as link state routing. Okay, so it's a very important technique because nowadays this is in use now. So I'll also show you that actually whatever you study here in practical implementation, it will be quite different than you see. Okay, so every routing algorithm is now dependent upon the router part. Okay, so router basically use both of the algorithm. It will also use DVR as well as it also use LSR. I will tell you about it, but just take the same example that we have taken in the previous one. So the example was this. Okay, so same example is there. Okay, so this is just a little bit different than DVR. Most of the things will be similar, but it's a little bit different. Okay, so I'll tell you the difference here. Okay, so in the first step of DVR, if you remember what we used to do, we used to build the routing table. But the help, if they are directly connected to the neighbor, I'll write that thing. If it is not connected to the neighbor, I'll write an infinity to that. Suppose A to C, it is not directly connected, I directly write an infinity to that. Okay, so infinity to that entry. Okay, the first step is similar here, that you have to construct a routing table, but it will be a bit different the routing table than we have seen in DVR. Okay, so it is built like this one. So first of all, the packet name will be at the top, and just leave these two things empty. So this will, I'll show you the problems, and these are the solution to these problems. So just leave this vacant for a second. Now just enter whoever is available to you. So D is directly connected to the neighbor of C. So you write C here, and the path is 11. It is connected to B, and it is connected to A. So A is 1 and B is 7. Okay, in the similar way, build the same thing, to C here, leaving two things empty here. C is connected to two parts here, that is D and B. So D is 11 and B is 3. In a similar way, just go ahead and perform the similar procedure in all of these. Okay, so it will be B here, then leave this part empty, and again there will be 3 here. It is A, D and C A is 2, D is 7, and C is 3. Okay, in the similar way, the last one is this. Okay, so the first step is just you have to build the routing table. In this particular in DVR part, this particular thing is referred to as a routing table, but in this part, this particular thing is referred to as a link state packet. Okay, so now again, what is the meaning of link here? Link, if you remember, link is a edge. Link denotes a edge here, and state here, it can be up or it can be down. Okay, so state is just a simple meaning that if they are connected to each other, it means the state is up. If they are not connected to each other or the path is down there and you are not able to reach from B to C, then the state will be down. Okay, so it is something like that. Okay, so now first of all, what is the first step of it, and what is the first step of DVR? Hmm? In DVR, a node sends in information to its neighbor. If you remember, in the DVR algorithm, we used to write the information regarding the immediate neighbor. Immediate neighbor. Okay. Now, in I'll write this step. It's very important. Okay. So the first step is quite similar to it. So first, I'll write. First, every router will find out about its neighbor. Okay. So in LSR also, first every router will find out its neighbor. Okay, so by the terms of flooding, I'll meant to say this one. Okay, about its neighbor, and I'll also say the distance. Okay, so distance will also be known because, okay, by using or by employing, I'll say something called a hello packet. Okay, so hello packet is nothing. They just these are just some packets that are flooded on every. Suppose you are standing at A, you will send a packet from here and here. Whatever you are connected to, whatever node or whatever edge you are connected to, you will send a hello packet to all of the nodes that this A is connected. Okay, so after receiving a hello packet, every router will reply back. Okay, so in the first one, because A is sending a hello packet on its outgoing links, so this it will get a reply from this C, I think it's D, and it will get a reply from B. So now A will know that there are two things are there, the two particular routers that are in the path here, and it will note its distances in its routing table. So first step, it is very simple. Now uh, now the difference here, I think, is between the DVR and the LSR. The difference here is only the flooding part. Okay, so if you see here, every router, if you see A, B, C or D, every router will send its own information, sends its own information to every other router. Okay, so this is the main part. Okay, so in DVR, what was happened is that every router has the knowledge of its neighbor. Okay, so it was built like that. So in DVR, every router has the knowledge of neighbor, and in 2 and 3 steps, because if you know the algorithm in data structure that is used to find the shortest path, I think that was in 3-4 step, it was uh, Bellman-Ford algorithm. Okay, so if you remember, what happens in Bellman-Ford algorithm is that there will be quite one step, then there again you have to apply the algorithm in second time, and again you have to apply the algorithm third time if there are 4 nodes. Okay, so something like that, and in the end you will get the shortest path from all pair shortest path. I think it was from all the pairs you will get the shortest path. Okay, so LSR is just sorry, DVR is just like that. Okay, so you have to apply the algorithm DVR that I've told you first time. Then again you have to apply the algorithm. So every node you have to apply the algorithm, and I think 2 or 3 times you have to apply the algorithm to get the complete picture and to get the shortest path. But in this particular algorithm, if you are seeing here, what we are doing is what first we are collecting the information about about the whole internet. Okay, so the only difference between DVR and LSR is DVR wants to know about its neighbor, but LSR wants to know about the whole internet. Okay, so that is the foundational difference between these two. Okay, so when LSR has all the map to internet, okay, so it has all the path that which router lies at which place. What can you do? You can easily apply a single source shortest path algorithm like Dijkastra algorithm to find the shortest string, to find the shortest distance between two routers. Okay, so that is the foundational concept on which this LSR is based on. Okay, so now I'll say the first step was to first every router will find its neighbor, so it's the very similar step. Now the another step was uh, I'll say now a I'll say every router will flood its information on the outgoing path. Okay, so that is the important part. Okay, so I'll show you now what will happen with this. Now with this step every router has the global knowledge. Okay, so every router will have the global knowledge. Okay, so in opposed to as opposed to uh, the local knowledge that was given in DVR. Okay, so in DVR the knowledge was quite local knowledge, and in LSR the knowledge is global, means that every router knows about the whole internet, whole routers, that where it is placed there. Okay, so that is the foundational concept of LSR here. So I will show you now how will it impact, now how will a particular table will be able to build a routing table. So I'll show you. Okay, so suppose at A, you are standing at A. I'll again take the diagram here. What do I mean by this? I'll show you. Okay, so I'll just copy and paste this diagram here. So now if you're seeing here, when you are standing at A, because everyone is flooding its packet, so D will be flooding its packet to C, A and B. In the similar way, A will be flooding its packet to D and B. C is flooding its packet to D and B. B is flooding its packet to D, C and A. Okay, so suppose you are standing at A, so you will receive quite a bit of packet from all of the sides. Okay, so suppose when you get a packet from B, okay, so at A, you are standing at A, you will receive a packet from B. Okay, so now what is in B? If you see here again, I can copy this particular thing as well. So this is the information that is available in B. So this will be exchanged with each other. So I'm just copy and pasting this information here. Okay. Oh, what is the problem? Just wait a second. Okay. Now, if you see the information that is available in B is about A, D and C. Okay. So now when you are standing at A, you will come to know that the distance between B to A. Okay. So you are standing at A. So it means the distance between A to B is 2. B to A, it means B to itself, it's 2. And the distance between B to D. Okay. So that is very important. The distance between B to D is 7. That is also known by A. That is also known by A. Okay. So the distance between B to D is also known by A, and the distance between B and C is also known by this particular step, by this following this particular step. Okay. So if you're seeing here, there is no actual connection between, there is no direct connection between A and C, but still A has the information of knowing that there is a, just wait a second. Okay, sorry for that. Now, if you're seeing here, there is no direct connection between A and C, but still A has the information of C that the distance between B and C is 3. Okay, so that is one thing that I want you to see. Now, C, another thing that A will also receive, because everything is flooded here. So A will also receive a packet from C also. Okay, so because everything is flooded, so every packet will get towards this link, and it will get like it will transfer from one form to another. So if you are flooding the information from C, so information will reach to D, the same information will also reach to A via this path, and from this path also, from C to B and B to A, the same information will also reach 2 times to A also. Okay, so I'll tell you about how to tackle the information redundancy here, but just see here that the information from C can also reach to D as well as A as well as B by following the different path. Okay, so it can also happen that A get the same information from 2 different paths. Okay, so I'll tell you how to tackle that one as well, but still now from C you will be able to, what information you be able to get, the information that C to D is 11 and information when C to B is 3. Okay, so you can write now at this step, you can write like this. Already the available information, you are able to build this thing, you're able to build till here. Now you can move ahead. Okay, so from C you will be able to get that the from C the distance between C to D is what is 11. So you go here and write this one, and the distance between C to B is 3. So that is already known to you. Okay, so that particular thing is already known to you. Now again, when you reach when you get the information from your third node. Okay, so there are only third node, 3 nodes, 4 nodes here. So A or at the fourth node are you. So you will get the information from all the 3 nodes, remaining 3 nodes. Okay, so when you get the information of from D, you will be able to get this particular step. Okay, so now you will be able to complete the whole routing table. Okay, so this the information that you will get from D to A. What is the distance here? It is the distance is 1. Okay, so that is how you are just with the help of flooding. Okay, so again, when you are doing flooding, there will be lots of problem because there will be lot of traffic on the links here, but still with the help of flooding, it will happen after some time. It will not happen again and again. It will happen after some time, and there is again a time that is dedicated to it. Okay, so how much how after how many times it will again happen again. Okay, something like that. Okay, so at A, now you have the whole information from A to B, B to C, C to D, all the path. Okay, so you can say that A has do not have only the local information, it has the whole information about the internet. Okay, so now when you have the whole information at A, you can simply apply, a single source shortest path algorithm. Okay, single source shortest path algorithm. You may have studied this particular algorithm, that is the best algorithm because it has the least complexity and time, that is your Dijkastra algorithm. Okay, so this algorithm can be easily applied because at A you have all the information about all the paths. Okay, so you can easily find out what is the shortest distance between A to D. You can easily find out what is the shortest distance between A to C and A to B. Okay, in the similar way you can find, if you have the information of the whole internet, you will be able to, it will be a computationally complex thing because it is a single source shortest path algorithm. Okay, so again you have to apply if you want to find, because if you're seeing here there will be multiple paths that is available at A to reach a particular destination. Okay, so when you want to send something, only then you apply the Dijkastra algorithm, otherwise you do not apply. So it is programmed like that. Okay, so now if you're seeing here, the convergence will be available in only one step. Okay, so you will get the convergence, means that you will be able to get converge, it will be able to converge faster than DVR, because it will not be like 1 step, then 2 step, then 3 step you have to apply a DVR. It will just, you have all the information about the internet, and now you can easily apply Dijkastra algorithm to find a shortest path between two routers. Okay, so that is the advantage, and that is the difference between using a LSR and using a DVR. Okay, so again, with the advancement, okay, so again, in the previous days, we can, when the DVR was invented, we do not have enough space to save these things. Okay, we do not have enough space to save the all the path, all to save the path, global traffic, or to save the global paths that are available in the router. That at that time we do not have that much space. Now we have that much space, and we can store the information regarding whole of the internet, or regarding the local internet. Okay, so you can say that I can have the information. If I do not have the information, my ISP must have it. Okay, so in practical it will be totally different, but in theoretical, this is given in your book. Okay, so it means when you go into the practical solution and when you are implementing a routing algorithm, router takes care of all of this. Okay, so router do not just stresses upon on using a LSR. Okay, there are some scenarios where DVR is also used. Okay, so you can say that router has both of the algorithm, and it sometimes it use DVR, and it sometimes it use RIP, or LSR. Okay, so I will tell you about the implementations of it, and you may have seen it already in your lab classes about the implementation of RIP and the implementation of your OSPF. Okay, so they are both the implementation of these two algorithms. Okay, I'll tell you about it. Okay, so now the problem was solved about convergence. Now it can converge faster than DVR, because by using a Dijkastra algorithm, you can easily apply it on the routing table, and you get the smallest and shortest path between two routers. Okay, and now what are the problem that arises? Okay, so first problem is that you are doing flooding. This is just common sense. When you're doing flooding, there will be a heavy traffic. Okay, so flooding aggregates to a heavy traffic problem. Okay, so again, only heavy traffic again can be managed, but there are other problems. Like if I show you the example of this problem that I say is this one. Okay, so understand this, it's a very important thing. So I'll tell you why there are some things that are written here. Okay, so now if you see here, with the help of, when you are doing flooding, you will follow every suppose this is A router, this is B router. Okay, so A has to flood the information on every outgoing node. So it will flood the information that is available to that is the information of A routing table will be put on this link, and the information of A will be put on also this link. Okay, so if you are seeing here, this link has two router, this link has only, but there is no router in between them. Okay, so this link has two router between them. So obviously, if you are seeing here, 2 will arrive faster here. Okay, so 2 arrives faster here. Now 1 will arrive after 2. Okay, so first it will be 2, 1 will arrive late. Okay, so now think according to the point of view of B. Okay, so what actually happens is that suppose this particular packet is I put this packet onto the link at 11 a.m. Okay, so I have put this packet at 11:01 a.m. So it can also happen, flooding cannot occur at the same time. Sometime it will take, first it will put the link in this time, and second it will put the link at this time. So it will be like a nanosecond difference, but still I'm showing you that suppose I'm just exaggerating the time difference between them. Okay, so it particularly this particular packet is put after 1. Now if you're seeing here, this packet will arrive faster. Suppose it arrive around 11:02, and this packet, one packet arrive at 11:03. Okay, so now this is very, now understand this point. Now which packet is good? This packet is good because it is following the shortest path here, because there are no routers in between. So this particular packet will arrive faster. That is obvious. this particular packet will arrive late because it has to go through two routers and they will process and it will again put the packet onto the link. There will be transmission delay and there will be some propagation delay between them. Okay, so that is already known to us. Okay, so now think about from B point of view. Okay, so what is B thinking now? Point of view. Okay, so according to B, first packet that I got, first packet, uh, just wait a second. Now, which is the latest packet? Actually, if you see here, I'll just write 2 point of view. Okay, so upon the arrival time. Okay, so upon the arrival time, this is one point of view. On the arrival time, if you're seeing here, 2 is the latest packet and 1 is the old packet upon the arrival time. That is correct. Okay, but if you are not considering the arrival time at this point, so considering it from B's point of view, now B will think because 2 has arrived earlier, so according to B, now 2 is the old packet and 1 is the latest packet. Okay, so if you apply some common sense here, what this router will do, it will accept the packet that is the latest one, it will discard the previous packet, but it should not do that. Okay, because the previous packet has taken a shortest path. Okay, so I want that shortest path, I want this particular path to be available to me so that I can make some shortest path algorithm decisions. Okay, so what can I do now to change B's point of view? Okay, so according to B router, if you're seeing here, the B router should have thought about this particular thing based on the arrival time, but it is not thinking like that. Okay, so B is thinking whatever is arriving to me earlier, it is the old packet. Whatever is arriving to me late, it will be the new packet. Okay, so it will be the latest packet according to B here. Okay, so how to correct this problem is that we need something called a sequence number. Okay, so based on the sequence number, the B can be easily able to judge that which particular router, which particular packet is the latest one. Okay, so now if I just take the same diagram here, I've added one thing here now. The two things that were empty earlier, now I'll add one thing here now. One thing is, what is the problem with this? Just wait a second. Okay. Now I have added one more thing here, that is a sequence number. Okay, the sequence number will also be a part of your LSR packet. Okay, so it is a link state packet, LS packet. Okay, so now what is the meaning of it now? Now you can think of it like that. Every router with the introduction of the sequence number, every router will maintain a database. Okay, so we'll maintain a database. I'll show you what will be the database looks like. Now the database will be, suppose at A, you are standing at A, the database will be that you got the router and you will write the what do you say, the sequence number. Okay, so suppose you got something from B, the sequence number was 10, some got something from C, the sequence number was 20, you got something from D and the sequence number was 30. So this particular routing table is already built there. Okay, so now suppose now in this time you got at now, I'll say now, this when this particular routing table is built, now you got B8. Okay, so B8 means this is the sequence number. It is saying that another packet is coming from B, the sequence number of this is 8. Okay, so if you're seeing here, the sequence number of B10 is already available to you. Okay, so it means that that the packet that is supposed to reach earlier is arriving at late time, and I already have the smallest path. So what I'll do, I will discard this particular packet. Okay, so you discard this packet because you already have the latest one already there. Okay, so what happens if something like B9 comes, you will also discard this packet because again you have the latest packet already there. But what happens if you have B15 here? Okay, so if B15 comes, so that is okay. So you just change the location here because now you have a old entry here. So what you do, you write the router here, write the sequence number here. What you do, you write B here and then 15, update the entry C20 and D30. Okay, so that is how you can tackle with this problem if you want. And now if you again want to see it, another packet can also come, like if B11 comes now, you will again discard it because you also have you already have the latest entry. Okay, so keep in mind when updation is done, when updation is done, you have to flood the information again. Okay, so now this is the updation that you are doing now. With this updation, again the path will be similar, the path can be changed, it depends upon the router. Okay, so by using this method you are somehow getting the smallest path. Okay, so if you're thinking here, you always getting that path through which your packet is getting to you early. Okay, so from a specific location. So one thing, if you're seeing here, you already have some information regarding the smallest path between you and B. Okay, so this is again some kind of simplification that is already available to you. Okay, so now another thing is that one more thing, that another problem that can arise at this point. So suppose I'll show you the diagram here. So how flooding actually is done. So I'll show you again. A B C here. So again I'm using the same diagram, just a little bit different. So how flooding actually work is that A will send the packet at this direction and at this direction. Okay, so this packet can reach from B and travel to C. It is the same packet. It is the same packet from A. Okay, so I'll writing it here at A, and another one it again following the same path at A. Okay, so your you now what you do, you now infer some packet will be arrive late, some packet will arrive faster. Okay, suppose this packet arrive faster, now C's routing table is updated now. Okay, so now what C will do, if this particular packet reach late here, so it will discard it because it already have the latest entry. Now whatever is now the latest entry to this C, now it will also again flood the information to all of the routers there. Okay, so that is how the flooding part will work. Okay, so if you're seeing here, it is a very complex thing. So you will be thinking that most of the time they are flooding the information, why they are doing it, and uh, if they are always doing the flooding, whether there will be a large amount of traffic that will be blocking the internet. Okay, so again the flooding, when you have a new router. Okay, so suppose when you are connected to the internet, you always have a new router. So this new router needs the information regarding the internet. So in order that it can find the shortest path, and in order that it can surf the internet very effectively. Okay, so when a new router is connected, it will always flood it information towards the other routers that are already in the network in order to give its information to the new routers. Okay, so that is how it's done. Okay, so it will not be like that they are always flooding, but they will be flooding if anyone get a new information. Okay, so suppose now new router is connected here, so it means that a new path that was not there before, it is now there. Okay, so now it will start with the new path. Okay, so whatever is new, it will flood saying that I do not have any information, but I am connected to your network. Just send me your information so that I can calculate my shortest path to you people. Okay, so by getting the information from all the routers, it will be a little bit of flooding at the initially, but after some time it will get stable. Okay, so it will after some time it will get stable because path do not actually change very often. Okay, so if there is shortest path available, it will not change very often. Okay, so if you are connected to internet, most of the time you will be connected to internet and the path your router will always be in place. Okay, so if somehow after some time your router becomes I'll say your router there is a power entry or there is some power outage, your router gets out of the what do you say, got out of the path. Okay, so that can also happen. What will happen at that amount of time, and but how do we deal with it, I will also tell you. Okay, so now see it there we have seen something that is called a sequence number here. Now there is other thing that is called a time to live. Okay, so now what happens is that when you're seeing here that you get information from A and then you are getting again flooding the information from C. Okay, so there might be a chance. Okay, so there might be a chance of infinite loop because you are connected in a circle. Okay, so it can also it can happen that whatever information you are getting from whatever information of A you are getting from C, sorry, when the information from A is transmitted to C and after that C is transmitting the same information. Okay, so the information will not be changed after some time, but because it is arranged in a circle like this, it is arranged in a circle like this, after some time A will flood the same information and C will again flood the same information, again A will flood the same information, C will flood the same information. So I do not want my path, it might be a chance, there might be a chance that my routers can fall into something called infinite loop. Okay, so in order to avoid it, I'll use something more here, that is one more entry that was left there, that is referred to as your TTL. Okay, so I'm just only taking this particular thing. This is your link state packet. Okay, so in this entry I will enter one thing here, that is one more thing here, that is your time to live. Okay, so time to live. Okay, so now what this packet or what is the functionality of this actually is just one you are just assigning some time. Okay, so suppose I am assigning some times to my LSR. Okay, so I'm sending this particular packet, that is A. Suppose I'm sending this packet A from A to any suppose from A to C. Okay, so I'm assigning this packet some TTL. Okay, so TTL means that I'm assigning this packet like 15 seconds. Okay, it will not be like that, but it is 15 seconds. So after 15 seconds, this particular packet will all will be discarded, because if you're seeing here what will happen now, if you see here, the packet from A will go to B, the packet from B will go to C, the packet from C will go to D, and from D to A, again A to B, B to C, C to D, D to A, and it will follow this path infinitely, because if you're seeing here this path that is available, it is connected in a closed loop. Okay, so if it is connected in a closed loop, I haven't given anything. If you see here, I have not given you anything, because if you think, if this is the router here, what will happen? So if this is not a closed path, now when I flood the information, it will go to this, now it will go to this, now this there is no other way to for this router to pass the information. Now this information will be discarded here. Okay, but if you see here, if it is connected in a closed loop, now this information is available to the router and the outgoing link is also available. So whatever information it is receiving, it will also put the information on this closed loop, and again this particular thing will fall into an infinite loop. So I do not want that. Okay, so I will assign my packet a certain time. So after some time, the time will be sufficient. Okay, so same time will be sufficient. In that time, it will be able to reach all the routers in the path. Okay, so that is why TTL is needed. So TTL is time to live. So I will assign like 15 seconds to a packet. That will be enough to cover all the routers that are lies in the path. Okay, so now see here, now another problem that can occur now. What can another problem is that it again occurs very rarely, but still it occurs. So I'm saying that at A you have the information like B, C and D. and then the information was 16, 20, 30. So again, I'm talking about this one, this particular thing, router and the sequence number, if you remember. Now, suppose you got like B15 now, okay? So at this time you got B15. You already know if you got B15, you will discard it because B16 entry is already available to you. Now see here, if I write this in binary, 1111. So suppose there is something called 1-bit error occurs. Okay, so 1-bit error when you are doing the transferring, it can occur. So what happens with this error is that this 0 turns to 1. Okay, so if this 0 turns to 1, it becomes B31. Okay, so now by seeing B31 here, what will this particular table will do? It will update the entry to B31 here, but actually it is not B31, it is B15. Now what will be the disadvantage to that? Now if B16 come, B17 come, B18 come, all the packets will be discarded there. Okay, because you also already got the entry of 31, but actually it is not the entry of 31, actually it is the entry of 15. Okay, so now how to tackle this problem? Now we have given another solution for this problem. That again, this problem rarely happens because our communication system are very robust now. The only times I think it 1 in a million times this thing will happen. Okay, still we have a backup solution for this, is that always we added another entry towards this one, is the lifetime or validity part. Okay, in the routing table. Now what is the validity part doing here? Now what you do, it is again like a TTL. Okay, so they will give the path like B to C to D 31 20, and here the router will contain an entry of like 10 minutes. It will not be 10 minutes, it will be again less than that, depends upon the implementation. So it will say that only this entry will be valid for the next 10 minutes. Okay, so after that again the timer or the flooding will be again performed, so that if there is any error in the system, it will get removed. Okay, so that is how we deal with these kind of problem if there is any 1-bit error occurs. Now if this is a wrong entry, I know, but after 10 minutes this particular entry will be corrected. Okay, so that is how we make this LSR so robust, because we have already employed the backup system thinking that this problem can arrive. Again, 1-bit error occurs rarely, but still we have a solution for that, and this solution again it's a very important one, because depending upon the implementation, not only after 10 time, after 10 minutes, every particular router will contain the lifetime part. Okay, so if I'm sending some information to the router entry, I will also send this lifetime part. Okay, so C will also send that this particular packet will be available to you only for 15 minutes. Okay, so after that, again the flooding will occur and the routing table will be rerouted. Okay, so why this happens is that I want the flooding to be systematic. Okay, so I don't want every router just randomly sending me something and I will not make something out of it. But if I do it like this, I will be able to get, after 15 minutes, I know my timer will expire and I will get a new entry from C. Okay, so that is the advantage of using this lifetime and validity part, that I will always be dynamic, and if there is no new path added or old path get finished, I will get to know about this. Okay, so now again if there is a problem here, again I will show you. If there is some problem here, suppose there was A, B, C, D. Okay, so actually it was earlier, it was going like this, but now think about this. This particular path is now disconnected. Okay, so now if you think here, this is not very big of a problem. Okay, so the first problem we have tackled, if you remember, was looping. Okay, so looping, it is probably it is solved by TTL. Now the second problem is referred to as black hole. Okay, so why it is black hole? Now A will send sometime send the same, it will send it packets towards the same path even it is disconnected, because it will not get the information that this path is down there. Okay, but this will not get the information for some time. Sometime means that depends upon the lifetime validity timer. Okay, so after 10 minutes, or it will not be 10 minutes, it will be in seconds or nanoseconds, but after some time it will get to know that this particular path is not there, and now it will eventually change the path to this path. Okay, because it will also not get acknowledgement, can send it can again follow the next path when the lifetime validity part is over there. Okay, so now these two problems are referred to as a transient problem. Transient problem means that solves itself. Okay, it do not need a human intervention. That these are also referred to as a temporary problem. Okay, so they are not they will not last for very long. It will itself solve after some time. Okay, it will itself correct itself after some time. In the similar way, there is something called a persistent problem. Now there is no persistent problem that lies in LSR, but there is a persistent problem, if you know, in DVR. Okay, so the persistent problem I think was looping. Okay, so the looping in DVR is a persistent problem. You cannot find a solution of this one. Okay, so the solution was count to infinity problem. So when you implemented the count to infinity, the looping problem was also got finished, but still there is no persistent problem. Persistent problem means that it will not, it will remain forever. Transient problem means it's a temporary problem. Okay, so the only difference between these two is this. Okay, so now if you're seeing here, LSR is quite a robust system. Okay, so they thought of everything. So most of the time you will be using your LSR part, that is uh, OSPF. Okay, so I will again tell you the difference between these two in the next lecture. So DVR, it is an implementation. This is a technique, and it is implemented by something called RIP. Okay, it is routing information protocol. You have studied this particular protocol in your labs also. Another one you have seen about is another LSR. Okay, so LSR is a technique, and the implementation of this is given as OSPF. Okay, so open source what is the full form of P? I don't know. OSPF, just wait a second, I can search for it. Path, I think P for path. Open source path forwarding. Path first. Okay, so open source path first. Okay, so the LSR is a technique that is implemented by OSPF. Okay, so it means that OSPF use Dijkastra algorithm, and DVR use, I cannot say that it is Bellman-Ford, but it is very similar to Bellman-Ford. Okay, so it is not actually Bellman-Ford, but it is very similar to Bellman-Ford, because Bellman-Ford also takes like 2 or 3 rounds if you studied data structure, because Bellman-Ford I think was all pair shortest path. Okay, so it has to find the shortest path from every pair. Okay, so every pair means A, from A to B, A to C, A to D, from B to A, B to C, B to D, something like that. Okay, so there if you remember, there is something called a matrix. The matrix is formed, and in the end you will get, after 3 or 4 rounds depending upon the diagram, you get the answer. Okay, so that is why OSPF is preferred here, because when you got the information, Dijkastra is implemented in the first go. You do not need 2 or 3 rounds of Dijkastra. You will get the answer in 1 round. Okay, so in the next lecture I will discuss more about, I think, only differences between these two, and some things about RIP and OSPF, and with it I think your routing part will be over. So I'll move on to your protocols part of network layer. Okay, so if you have any doubt, let me know.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, yes.
Sir,